Recently, I played Rhythm Heaven Fever for the first time, and it was good. I didn't think it was anything super special, but it was an enjoyable game I'm glad I experienced. But for some reason, I just can't stop thinking about it. Maybe it's just because of how good the soundtrack is, or maybe Rhythm Heaven Fever is a game that will forever remain in the subconscious of those who play it. Either way, in an attempt to become free from this, I'm going to rank all 50 of the main games in Rhythm Heaven Fever from worst to best. I'm only doing the main games because I do not have the skill to get the medals necessary to unlock the extra games. And keep that in mind, I have yet to perfect a single minigame, so this is a list based entirely on what games I consider to be the most fun. Let's begin. 50. Catch of the Day. Ever since I played this game for the first time, it's been my least favorite minigame in Rhythm Heaven Fever. Catch of the Day does basically everything wrong. It's boring, the music's not good, and the visuals are pretty uninteresting. The timing for the biggest fish is also pretty awkward, but it's not like you even have to learn it since this game can be done entirely visually. Just hit A when the fish starts to grab the line. Amazing design right there. 49. Love Rap. God, the voices are just so bad. It's not like Love Rap gets anything else right either. What's so cool about looking at three people rapping through speech bubbles? The timing is really dumb too. Not in terms of when in the music, but you have to hit A before the girl is even done talking for it to count. There is one thing this does have over Catch of the Day, and that's that it has a little bit of charm, but that's really all I can say for positives. 48. Love Rap 2. It's Love Rap again. I'm putting the sequel slightly higher though, because it's more interesting gameplay-wise. It also looks and sounds better. Well, the background music does. The voices are still awful. 47. Remix 5. The worst remix in Rhythm Heaven Fever by far. It's really bad. I find prehistoric themes to be boring most of the time, and Remix 5 barely even tries. Like, you made the seals orange, good job. The music's only good for the first 5 seconds, and somehow the game feels both incredibly short and agonizingly long at the same time. Having a remix where half of the games are based on waiting and half make you constantly press A is a neat idea, but it ends up being very awkward to play. 46. Bossa Nova. Bossa Nova is boring. You're just repeating two simple patterns for 2 minutes. I kinda like how chill the atmosphere is, but that's it. 45. Serewbot Factory. A very simple and underwhelming game. To be fair, Serewbot Factory is only the second game, so it definitely has an excuse. However, Hole in One is the game you play before this, and spoilers for the list, but that game is incredible. The music and visuals aren't very good. I like the sounds the robots make when they're assembled, though. 44. Shrimp Shuffle. The hardest part about making this list was having to remember Shrimp Shuffle exists. It's so simple. Move 3 times, jump back on C, mess up when the shrimps stop. This is one of the easiest games in Rhythm Heaven Fever, and for some reason it's in the final set of new games. Being easy doesn't make a game bad, but it at least needs to be interesting to play. 43. Double Date 2. Double Date is a decent time. Double Date 2 is a logical step forward gameplay-wise. So why is it down here? Bagpipes. Why the bagpipes? This music sucks. Usually I don't view stages as worse because they have bad music. But in a rhythm game, the music is the most important part. It's what you're playing to. I don't want to hear this song with bagpipes. The visuals take a hit too. Imagine going out just like this kid. 42. Working Dough 2. This is a weird one. Working Dough is basically Simon Says. Copy what the leftos do to the beat. Working Dough 2, unlike all the other sequels, doesn't just do the same thing but harder. Instead, it opts for making weird, offbeat patterns. That's a cool idea, but I just don't think it's all that fun. 41. Micro Row. Micro Row is fine. That's all I have to say about it. 40. Micro Row 2. More of the same, but there's a new double tap cue, which makes it a little bit more interesting. 39. Monkey Watch. You haven't experienced true pain until you've played Monkey Watch. Outside of the final remix, this is the game that took me the most amount of tries to beat, not even counting the half hour I spent trying to get past the practice. And it's in the second set of games. Calling this a difficulty spike is being generous. Despite everything, I still can't hate Monkey Watch. The music's awesome, and who doesn't love high-fiving monkeys? Nonetheless, I can't put this any higher because of the pain it brought upon me. 38. Remix 2. Remix 2 is so close to being great. The music goes for a hard rock approach, and it's good, but I think it could be even more. The games are fast-paced and are mostly fun, but Board Meeting and Forklift were only there like twice. Tambourine is also only there twice, but it's longer, and actually really fun in this remix, so I wish it was used more. And after about a minute, it just abruptly ends. It could have gone on for so much longer without getting stale. This is a remix that just barely falls flat in every single way. Also, it gets brought down a few places for putting me back into Monkey Watch Hell right after I escaped it. 37. Donk Donk. Rhythm Heaven Fever has some weird games, but Donk Donk takes the cake. If you can tell me what's going on in this minigame, I will be in your debt. Weird doesn't equate to bad. The problem is that Donk Donk fails to stay interesting despite its quirks. Bonus points are given for the background though. I love sky aesthetics. They're probably my favorite kind of aesthetic, especially colorful skies. Donk Donk looks phenomenal, but everything else is meh at best. 36. Packing Pests. Packing Pests is okay. It's a little slow and only has one alternating cue, which gets kind of old after the 15th time it happens. Still a perfectly acceptable game. 35. Serewbot Factory 2. A definite improvement on the original. It's more challenging and the darkness gimmick is a fun twist. Still nothing special though. 34. Working Dough. A definite improvement on its sequel, I guess. Working Dough is pretty decent. Many of the patterns are fun to input. Unfortunately, Simon Says games tend to get boring after a while and the visuals and music aren't the greatest. 33. Figure Fighter 2. I don't know what it is, but something about this game feels a bit off. The colors aren't as appealing as they are in the original, and neither is the music. And I hate that quick 1-2. 32. Forklifter. This is what I consider to be the most average game in Rhythm Heaven Fever. Use this as a guide. Everything above Forklifter is above average, and everything below it is below average. Being as average as it is, there's not much to say about Forklifter. Grabbing the piece is really satisfying. The music takes a while to get going, but once it does, it really does. 31. Double Date. Just a nice, relaxing, slow game without bagpipes. I can't say it does anything spectacular, but it has a very nice atmosphere. 30. Built to Scale. Built to Scale is repetitive, but still manages to be fun. It's the same song played a bunch of times with a different tempo, forcing you to adapt with the music. Combine this with satisfying animations and sound effects, and you have a pretty good... I didn't finish that sentence, I just put a period there. Well, I guess it was just supposed to be game, I don't know. 29. Built to Scale 2. Built to Scale 2 is the same game with more times you have to hit A and B together. Slightly better music, too. 28. Figure Fighter. I like the games that make you hit a lot of different cues. Figure Fighter has 4, and I feel like it makes things less stale. Figure Fighter is good. I'm kind of upset how short a lot of these reviews are, but I don't really know what else there is to say. I'm sure they'll get longer the further we get up the list. 27. Remix 4. A solid game, but one of the more forgettable remixes. Remix 4 is nothing special in the gameplay department, but the visuals are really cool and the music is amazing. 26. Tambourine. Another Simon Says game, but the best Simon Says game because monkey. Instead of only having you copy patterns, Tambourine makes you repeat slight alterations of the same pattern, and I think it works really well. The game is really short too, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. The music is nice and the visuals are monkey. Why is it called Tambourine though? The description calls it a game of Simeon Says. That name is so much better, why not name it that? 25. Packing Pests 2. One of the most improved sequels, Packing Pests 2 fixes most of my problems with the original. It moves much faster and now there's an offbeat cue, which mixes things up. 24. Remix 1. Despite being the very first remix, I keep coming back to Remix 1. It's the easiest remix, but it's still very enjoyable. The games all look really good in the vacation theme. The music steals the show here though, it's just so lively and happy and it creates a feel-good atmosphere. 23. Karate Man. Rhythm Heaven's mascot game. Far from my favorite, but still a good time. Punching the objects thrown at you in perfectly timing combos is just satisfying. Even with all the information it has to give you, Karate Man remains fast-paced and fun. 22. Karate Man 2. Incredibly similar to the first, even down to the same music. I was kind of hoping it would be a different song, but at least it sounds different. More combos, more challenging gameplay, more fun. 21. Remix 9. The first remix on the list with lyrics. I think this is probably an unpopular opinion, but I prefer the tracks without lyrics. That's not to say they're bad or anything, I just like it better when I'm playing the games to background music. The Remix 9 song is actually pretty great, and probably my favorite lyrical song in Rhythm Heaven Fever. The gameplay doesn't stand out very much, other than feeling high energy, probably due to the song. Visuals are just Persona 5. That's the second time this year I brought that game up. I referenced Persona 5 a lot for a game I got bored of and quit. The most impressive part of Remix 9 is that it somehow manages to make love rap fun. 20. Remix 7. Incredible music, but I feel like that applies to every remix. Well, except for 5. Remix 7's music is one of my favorite tracks in the game. There's only one remix we'll get to that I think would beat it. I love how each game featured here has its own style in the music. My favorite is Tap Troops, especially this part. 19. Ringside. Let's start with the bad. Ringside is slow and starts to get boring at the end. The music is nothing special either. The game is elevated solely by how charming it is. The reporter's questions are complete nonsense, and I think it's hilarious that the wrestler responds to every single one of them with, eh. I'm a little upset with the missed potential with the wrestler character. At one point, he should have had his mask pulled off, revealing he was Bald Bull all along. That's a reference to the 1985 Nintendo arcade game, Arm Wrestling, in which one of the wrestlers gets their mask pulled off and is revealed to be Bald Bull. I don't know why I know that. 18. Exhibition Match. Exhibition Match is counting to 5, the game. If that's all it was, this would be in the bottom 10. What makes Exhibition Match enjoyable is how the camera and music purposely try to throw your counting off. I really wish more games were like this, especially with some of these camera effects. 17. Flock Step. Flock Step is pretty simple. Hit A to the beat and A and B together when the birds squawk. The birds are what make this game what it is. They're colorful and vibrant and make me happy. 16. Remix 3. Another lyrical remix. The lyrics of Remix 3 actually mesh really well with the gameplay, more so than the other two lyrical remixes. The aesthetic is also really good. I'm also a fan of how long this remix is. At no point does it get boring due to the constantly different games and music. Each game gets used appropriately and for enough time. It needs more Air Rally though. Unfortunately, every minigame in Rhythm Heaven Fever other than Air Rally suffers from that issue, so it's a very minor complaint. 15. Tap Troupe. Tap Troupe's sound effects are extremely satisfying and are what make the game so fun. Anything from the music to the sound of the tappers stomping their feet to the OKs that they shout after successfully completing part of the song is a joy to listen to. 14. Launch Party. I'm not as big of a fan of space themes as I am sky themes, but I still like them a lot. Mario Galaxy 2 is my favorite video game. Great music and a lot of variety in the gameplay. Each type of ship counts down differently, so you have to learn what each one does, or just what they sound like. 13. Remix 6. When I finished this remix for the first time, I was shocked how much I liked it. If you recall, I pretty much hated all of the games in the 6th set, other than Launch Party. I guess they all work a lot better when played in short bursts. The carnival theme is nice, and the colors are fantastic. My favorite part of Remix 6 is without a doubt the music. This isn't my favorite music track in the game because I know for sure I like one more, but I'm pretty sure Remix 6 takes the silver medal, which is saying a lot considering how good so much of Rhythm Heaven Fever's music is. Each game feels like it's used for just the right amount of time, and the remix ends right when it should. 12. Hole-in-One. Finally, we made it to the introductory game. Hole-in-One is legitimately this good. Simple as it is, it remains engaging even after beating all the other levels. It's got phenomenal music and gameplay that changes things up throughout. 11. Samurai Slice 2. In my opinion, Samurai Slice 2 is a lot weaker than the original. I appreciate the added challenge, but it comes at the cost of weaker music, visuals, and effects. I don't want to say anything else more because I'd like to show what makes Samurai Slice so good when I cover the first one. 10. Seesaw. Two guys jumping on a seesaw has never been this intense. Again, despite being a game from the first set, Seesaw is still fun even after you mastered the game. Or, sort of, mastered. Funny concept, great music, satisfying sound effects, interesting visuals, we're in the top 10 now, you know the deal. 9. Hole-in-One 2. This is how you make a sequel. I adore the original Hole-in-One, and Hole-in-One 2 deserves every bit of praise I gave the original and more. First of all, it now takes place in the sky. That gets bonus points from me. The music might get the bronze medal, right below Remix 6. The reprise of the first game's theme makes me feel so triumphant, like I've truly made it all the way to the end of the game. And that thing the monkey can do now where he throws a couple balls super fast is a fun new mechanic to help it stand out from the original. 8. Remix 8. The final lyrical song, and ironically, probably my least favorite song of the three. The actual music part is great, but I'm not a huge fan of the lyrics personally. The black and white effect isn't getting any points from me either. It's never an effect I liked. So if the visuals and music are both lacking in my opinion, why is Remix 8 my favorite remix? One word. Speed. Remix 8 is the fastest game in Rhythm Heaven Fever. Playing it is an adrenaline rush. Taking on all these games at such a high speed more than makes up for its middling presentation. Also, the contrast between the sound effects from Air Rally and the depressing lyrics will never get old. 7. Board Meeting. This is probably a lot higher than it should be, but how can you not love Board Meeting? The music is really good and it moves super fast. Maybe a little too fast. The biggest issue with this game is the fact that it's probably the shortest game in all of Rhythm Heaven Fever. It doesn't even last for a minute. I don't really mind that though, because this game is a blast for that minute. But I think the real reason I like this game is the setup. 4 pigs randomly walk into a board meeting to give a presentation, which is actually just them spinning in chairs to a rhythm. 6. Cheerleaders. As I said when talking about Figure Fighter, I love games that have lots of different cues. If I'm not mistaken, Cheerleaders has the most cues to remember out of any game in Rhythm Heaven Fever. It's really fun and pretty challenging too. I went back and played every minigame once to get footage for this video, after a couple of weeks of not playing the game. Cheerleaders was the only non-remix that I failed. I even managed to get through Monkey Watch on my first try. I don't find the music in this game very memorable, but that doesn't matter when the gameplay is this fun. 5. Cheerleaders 2. It's a better version of Cheerleaders. It ups the already fairly high difficulty and has better music. It's a shame we're entering the top 5 of the game I have basically nothing to say about, but what am I supposed to say? It's more Cheerleaders. 4. Flipper Flop. Flipper Flop is objectively awesome. Look at the seals. Don't you just wish seals looked like this in real life? Seals look terrible in real life. We should start a petition to make seals look like this. That got a bit off topic, but it was something that needed to be said. Flipper Flop, much like Flockstep, is a game where you're constantly pressing A and pressing AB together when the cues ask you to. I vastly prefer Flipper Flop because there's an additional mechanic where you have to press A 3 times quickly, and because of how fun it is to pull off consecutive flipper rolls. This also happens to be the hand soreness game. This is a guess, but I think Flipper Flop is the game that has the most inputs. 3. Samurai Slice. If I'm being honest, when I first played this, I wasn't a huge fan. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. The music was solid, the gameplay was fun, and the visuals were interesting. It just lacked that one thing that made the other games special. Luckily, my opinion was changed completely. A lot of the games in Rhythm Heaven Fever include some kind of visual distraction. I really like it when they do because it forces the player to focus on the music without straight up taking the visuals away. The reason I bring this up is because Samurai Slice is what is easily the coolest implementation of this. Halfway through, the game will obscure your view with the story of how the wandering samurai is on a quest to defeat the demon and take back the stolen pinwheel. When I realized what was going on, I started grinning because of how clever it is. 2. Remix 10. This is a baseless accusation, but I feel like fans of this series are tired of hearing Remix 10. It's everywhere. The reason I even tried this game in the first place is because Remix 10 once again popped up in my YouTube recommendations. It's really unfortunate when something suffers that fate, because most of the time, that thing is actually really great. If this is the case, Remix 10 is no exception. I love it when final levels or set of levels in video games test you on basically everything you've learned up to that point. Remix 10 blends every main game seamlessly into one package, using parts from the songs of each of them. From start to finish, playing Remix 10 is incredible. Except for when it's Catch of the Day, that part sucks. And now we go on to number 1, and if you were with me when I played this game, you know exactly what it is. Air Rally is perfect. Every aspect of this game is perfect. Where do I even start? The gameplay is great. Other than Remix 8, this is the fastest game in Rhythm Heaven Fever, so it also has that high energy. I love how annoying the cat is. He has to make a noise every time he hits the shuttlecock, and when he goes far away, he just starts screaming at the top of his lungs. I'll never understand why he specifically decides to say ba-bum-bum-bum when you need to do a delayed hit, but I'll also never not find it funny. Good Englishing, me. The visuals are amongst my favorites in the game. Yet another sky aesthetic, this time going from daytime to sunset to nighttime as the game goes on. The clouds flying at you are another cool visual distraction. And then there's the music. Rhythm Heaven Fever has a lot of great songs in its OST, but Air Rally puts them all to shame. Every time I listen to this song, I feel incredible. It's just so, pun not intended, feverish. There's so much emotion put into it. I could seriously play the stage over and over again and never get bored of it. It's that good. Well, that's it. Every minigame in Rhythm Heaven Fever ranked from worst to best. Here's the ranking of the sets based on the average positions of the games in them. It's kind of funny how the very first and very last set of games with the same average score. I'm putting set 10 higher though because its best game is higher on the list than set 1's. And it's no surprise to me that set 6 has by far the lowest average score, followed by 2 and 5. Maybe now I'll be free from this obsession with Rhythm Heaven. I won't be, but it's fun to hope.